Hey, what's up guys, it is Orange Glazer here, and today, on August 21st, 2020, we finally got the summer update we were waiting for. Except that it didn't come with content. We got some hats and some bug fixes, but exciting nonetheless. So let's look into what we actually got here. They added the Summer 2020 Cosmetic case. This includes 22 new cosmetics from the workshop that we've never seen before, along with 4 new unusual effects also from the workshop. They added the Bizarre Bobble. It is basically a bobble hat for the soldier. It's kind of nice. I probably wouldn't wear it to be honest, but I mean, some people like it. They added the Jarmaments for Sniper, and what I think is really cool about this is that you can actually paint the Jarate inside of it, which is kind of a weird touch. Like, what if you painted it gray? I'm sure you would have a lot of people making nasty jokes about that, but nonetheless, still pretty cool. They also added the Sophisticated Smoker. It seems to be a cosmetic for Heavy, Demoman, Soldier, and NG. Kind of like an 80s, maybe 70s type look, just a really old Westerner type look that you can actually give to your cosmetic loadout. Next up we have the Soda Specs for Scout. What's really cool about this is that you already have like Blanc helms and everything inside the game, so this will mix perfectly with those cosmetics. And there's actually 2 styles, the Bonk style and the Criticola style. So, not bad. I think a lot of people will like this one. Next up we have the Head of Defense for Engineer, another head with 2 styles, and it pops up a sentry on top of the Engineer's helmet. Not bad. Could go good with some Combat NG loadouts. I actually made a Combat NG video a while ago, and I don't know, I think I like it. Next up we have the Poolside Polo for Scout. It's a nice look for Scout. It's kind of like a striped shirt, kind of like a V-neck, and it really gives off that Summer 2020 vibe, and I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy using this loadout. Next up we have the Crab de Chapu. I think I pronounced that wrong, probably did. It is a spy crab for the spy. It's kind of like on his head. Would probably match good with the genuine spy crab that you can actually get from the promotional item, and nonetheless, I think a lot of people will enjoy that too. Next up, what is probably one of my favorite blues out of all these is the Firefighter, a hat for the Pyro, kind of like a Street Fighter type look for the Pyro, and I really like the way the flames look at the top. Kind of reminds me of the burning beanie that I usually wear, and the bandana is also a really good touch. So I'll probably be using this in my loadouts at some point in the future. Next up for Scout we have the California Cap. I think this matches really well with the Poolside Polo that you can wear for Scout. It definitely gives off that summer vibe, especially with how you have glasses and a little bit of hair. It's the small details that really make this hat great for a blue. Next up we have the Self-Care for Medic. Medic just looks completely messed up. It's as if Meet the Medic went totally wrong, their Uber didn't pop through, and this is kind of just like what happened after that. I'm not sure who would use this in their loadout to be honest, but yeah. Next up you have the Mama Keeve. Probably based around the Chicken Keeve loadouts that you can get, because a lot of the Heavy Bird loadouts usually wear that Russian themed hat, so this is probably a nice thing to put on your shoulder whenever you're using that loadout. The Tools of the Tourist for Scout is kind of like another backpack type cosmetic. You have a little bit of sunscreen and a camera there, what I think is a towel, and not bad for a Summer 2020 case. The Hazard Headgear, kind of like a helmet with some caution decal. I don't know if I would probably wear this in game. Kind of reminds me of the regular soldier hat, but I'm sure some people will enjoy it. Next up you have the Bird's Eye Viewer, another shoulder cosmetic that you can put on your loadout. It kind of ties in with like the funny conspiracies that people will make up, kind of with how, you know, birds are just cameras, governments watching you. I think this goes well with that, and I don't know, it's kind of like a funny little joke cosmetic. I think people will like this one for the spy. Next up we have the Breach and Bomb for Soldier. Not bad, honestly. It kind of reminds me of the like protective gear that SWAT teams wear, or just maybe some Rainbow Six stuff. We've had a few protective gear cosmetics for Heavy, so why not give it to the Soldier a bit too. And next up, what is probably one of the coolest purples in this case is the Flatliner for Medic. Now, this flatline thing is actually animated, which is really cool. Kind of reminds me a bit of like the hats that Daft Punk wear, because they also got like some animated visor type thing. kind of like a futuristic 80s type cosmetic. So not a bad touch, not bad at all. And then for the pinks, we have a Flamehawk for the Pyro. It's just a very big mohawk for the Pyro. Personally, I'm not a big fan of mohawk cosmetics, but I'm sure you could probably clip these with other hats and you can make some pretty wacky cosmetic loadouts with this. So you know what, I'll take it. So next up we have the Loaf Loafers, another cosmetic themed around the expiration date, which I love because I know a lot of people love the film Expiration Date, and I've seen a lot of expiration date themed loadouts. So I think this one goes out for those type of people. Now next up in this case is the Smoking Jacket. Honestly, I think this might be the best cosmetic inside this case. It is a jacket for the Spy. It's very vibrant compared to a lot of the other jackets that you have for Spy. And I feel like this could go really good with the Breakneck baggies, as those are also dark and vibrant. They really stand out, and I think they would be a perfect match with each other. So with this cosmetic, I can probably see this one being worth the most, maybe, and I'll probably pick it up along the way because it doesn't look too bad, honestly. Next up we have the Hawk Warrior. It is kind of like an eagle head that you can wear on top of your head. Not bad, honestly. We've had some cosmetics like these, like the Spy Crab one that we just got, and we've also had like a duckbill hat. So I think people kind of like these because, you know, it got into the game. Obviously people are voting for it, so good on them. Now for the reds, we have the Bread Crab. It's kind of like a mix between Expiration Date and Half-Life Alyx, because on one side you have bread, and on the other side you have a head crab, and I feel like this could tie in the two communities together pretty well, and I think it kind of makes up for people who are expecting Half-Life Alyx themed weapons or hats whenever Half-Life Alyx came out. I think this will appease to them, so not bad, I like it. And last up on the red we have the Hypno-Eyes. Kind of like steampunk themed glasses that you can put on your loadouts, and it turns out the Hypno-Eyes are actually animated. So this would be a really cool cosmetic for those steampunk loadouts, and not bad. I really like these animated cosmetics that they've been releasing. It's pretty nice, I like this. And that's everything that we have for the cosmetic case. Now the contents in this case can be strange or unusual, and what's cool is that they actually added 4 new unusual effects to this case. Wow. So let's look over them. Alright, so onto the unusual effects that they've added. They've added Smoldering Spirits. Now the workshop page shows a few different effects. I'm gonna assume they added the orange one, and they just look really cool, I am not gonna lie. They've also added this Prismatica unusual effect, and it has this little glow with like this orbiting kind of wind going around it. I think this will be a very popular unusual effect, and I think people will like this one a lot. Next up we have the Bee Swarm unusual effect, and it does remind me of that one unusual effect with like all the flies around it. Now with this effect, I feel like it'll only look good with a few certain cosmetics, so I guess this is kind of like, you know, kind of like the lower tiers of what you can get. I guess if you really wanted to have a potted plant with a bee swarm around it, you could. It's kind of like, you gotta be picky with this one. And last effect that they added, probably the weirdest effect they've ever added into the game, was the Kaleidoscope. It's kind of like this pattern of like shapes, and I don't know, it just looks really wild, to be honest. There's not really any colors that I think that you can match this with. I mean, it's just changing colors rapidly to like a lot of different shit. So yeah, kind of weird, but not bad. And that's all we have for the cosmetics and unusual effects. Now for the actual patches and bugs they fixed in the game. They fixed an issue where values computed from server-bounded convars could be incorrect on the client and therefore possibly exploitable, and to be honest, I have no idea what that means, so let's just go on to the next patch note and forget that it existed. They fixed Australian Medigun / wrench items not dropping for the man vs machine rewards. Yeah, they haven't been dropping for quite a while now, and I think somebody actually made a video on that, so yeah, pretty cool on Valve to actually take note of that and fix it. They fixed the chat window not always being restored to the appropriate place. I've had this a few times where like my chat was all the way in the bottom left, instead of like maybe like a half inch from the left or the bottom. So, small bug, but they fixed it, so good on them. They fixed competitive badges not displaying correctly. I don't even know who plays competitive, but hey, they fixed it, so there you go. They increased the default caps per round for manpower mode. So they increased the default caps per round, so that probably means that these rounds for manpower will last longer because you can cap more per round, which in turn means that if people just want to play one game of manpower, the games will probably last longer, and there'll be more space for you to join in those games instead of the servers being completely empty and hard to find. They updated the watch streams dialog to open the Twitch page. Pretty cool, because there's still a lot of active Twitch streamers that are streaming TF2, so not bad. And they've also updated CP Granary with a permanent soldier statue, which is pretty cool. I'm assuming this is in remembrance of Rick May, and I'm sure a lot of us miss him. And I think this was really nice to see from the TF team that this will be a permanent feature on CP Granary. And for the last 2 patch notes, they've updated and added some tournament medals, because, you know, who doesn't love tournament medals? And finally, it wouldn't be a TF2 update if they didn't update the localization files.
Are you sure the community would want this? I have no idea!
So that's been it for this video. If you liked the video, click like. If you want to see more TF2 content covering patch notes or just fun gameplay, subscribe because I'm going to keep doing more of that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.